The Carolina Dodge Dealers 400 on Fox is brought to you by Singular Wireless. Never pay long distance or roaming again. It's a singular nation.
Jeff Gordon, a 5-time winner here, has a 1-second lead, but in second place, driving for the Wood brothers, who have won here 8 times. ELLIOTT Sadler. Jimmy Johnson 3rd, Jimmy Spencer 4th, Jeff Green 5th. We've had 1 caution as leader Steve Park was lapping Stacy Compton. The 2 cars got together in turn 3. Second place driver Ricky Craven was swept into this wreck. Couldn't clear it down low, and let's listen to the radio chatter from Craven.
Got it, just got it. Come on, Ricky. Just knocked the whole front of the car off.
There was nothing I could do about that, guys. We took the leader out.
Go to the garage, guys. Go to the garage. Just go to the garage. Just get the sawdog and everything ready.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. There wasn't nothing you could do.
Craven spotter Donnie Epling frustrated because he couldn't get his driver, couldn't clear him out away from that wreck.
Well, you just hear the frustration in everybody's voice. Ricky Craven, crew chief Mike Bean, the team. You know, you come in here 12th in points. You've had a good year. You sat on the pole. You're up there running second. And you watch it all go away in a matter of about a half a second.
And I believe, you know, Steve Park is probably very disappointed. But I would say mission accomplished. Came back, qualified well.
Raced well.
Led the race. Can't help what happened.
There's ELLIOTT Sadler coming from 7th place up to 2nd. It's been a year since he won. That was at Bristol, where we go next weekend.
Boys, I want to talk about our points leader, and I might add the car that Jeff Hammond picked, Sterling Marlin, again had to start at the rear of the field after having to change motors. With a little help from his guys on pit road, but a good race car. He's up to the 14th position, battling Ken Schrader right here.
Just past Kenny.
And that's for 13th.
That's 2 of the senior circuit drivers. Now, Schrader is 47. Marlin's right up there. Bill Elliott's 47. No, none of these drivers were born when this track was built.
How about Dale Jr. in that Budweiser car? This is a battle for 5th with Jeff Green. Jeff Green knew he was faster. Yeah. It's like, take the position.
Jeff got a little bit loose right there in the middle of the corner as well. Had to lift up.
And that's what Steve Park wishes Stacy Compton had done as they both went into that corner. Wish Compton had rolled out of the throttle, let Steve slide up the racetrack, and everybody goes on. And it didn't happen.
Park is, you know, he's 100% right for what he, I think, thought was going to happen. And Compton just held his line.
Well, he was trying to stay on the lead lap, and it unfortunately was an exercise in futility and took 2 cars out of the race. Compton was able to repair and continue. You see that yellow car coming into the picture is Ward Burton and Bill Davis's Dodge. He's now right up against Jeff Green. This is for 6th place.
And you know, Ward is an aggressive, I mean, he's a hard driving little guy. And to run as well as he does here at Darlington, time and time again, that amazes me, because he really is good at this racetrack.
Looks like on Jeff Green in the 30, they either went the wrong way with adjustments. His car, just as the racetrack's getting more and more rubber on it, his car just is not driving very good.
It's bouncing around on him right there in the middle of 1 and 2. There's some little whoop-de-doos up there in the middle of that corner, and if the car's a little loose, it'll really upset it.
Not only is this racetrack rough, it's very bumpy all the way around, especially in the corners.
Yeah, they got what I call whoop-de-doos. They're just little swoopy places where the car bounces a little bit, and you don't need to bounce with no grip.
You're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. as you see Ward Burton closing in on the 5th place car. Let's go to Junior's pit and Matt.
Well, Mike Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on pace to score his best ever finish here at Darlington, which is 11th. Last fall he was 17th early in this run, though today he says his car's a little bit on the loose side. And this car actually was going to go to Bristol next week, but they put a brand new body on it. They thought the car looked so good, they decided to bring it here. And if it survives Darlington, don't knock out all the dents, spray some Budweiser Red on it and take it to Bristol. But just keep in mind how tough this place has been for Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is how the car looked the last time he ran here, and they wanted to remind him, think, this place is a driver's racetrack if you think about it. You're hoping to have a good day today, but look at that. Dick?
just keyed his radio and told the crew the car is a little bit loose. That's good news for two reasons. First, the car has been tightened. That means on that last pit stop they've got it fixed. Second, it also means they got a radio problem fixed. They had a serious radio problem. All they had on the radio for about 2 or 3 minutes was just plain static. And you should have seen the ballet that went on down here in their pit as everybody changed channels, and they've got it all working again.
Well, Dick, Bobby Labonte is running in the 10th position in the 18 car. He told his crew chief, Jimmy Maycar, I can't get back on the gas like I want to in the center of the corner. He said, went on to apologize, saying, I can't give you the information you need to help this race car.
What does he mean by that, Darrell? That he can't give Jimmy the information that he needs?
Well, they haven't made enough pit stops, I believe, to be able to accumulate tire data and other information, and he's not giving them all the information they need right now, but they need another pit stop or two to be able to figure out what's going on.
You know, Darrell, as I listened to the report on Jeff Gordon in the 24 and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, saying their car's a little loose. If I'm the crew chief and you're a little loose here, as long as you're fast and can maintain the same speed, I'm going to be very hesitant to tighten that race car up and make it start pushing, because this racetrack will just get tighter and tighter.
Yeah, well, drivers, you know, are notorious for wanting the car to be perfect.
And will over-adjust.
That's right.
Jeff Gordon by 1.8 seconds leads Elliott Sadler, Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Spencer, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. here at Darlington. Jeff Gordon leading at Darlington by 1 second over Elliott Sadler. Today's KFC track facts. This is the 98th Winston Cup race here. Johnny Mance won the first Southern 500 in 1950. Bill France Sr. was one of 4 owners of that car, along with Curtis Turner. They wanted to expand the track, but there was no room on the front stretch, so they turned it around. What was the front stretch is now the back stretch, and they knocked down the back stretch stands and built the area where we are today.
That's how old this joint is. They ran it for 50 years one way, now they're going to run it 50 years for the other way.
That's our track fact. There's fast food, and then there's KFC.
Oh, you take a K and an E and an N and a T and a U and a CKY. That spells Kentucky, but it means paradise.
Here's a battle for third right here. Jimmy Spencer in the 41. Jimmy Johnson in that 48 Lowe's car. Spencer, Darrell, he's always ran pretty well here.
Had a good run here last year.
Yeah, the fastest driver on the track is right behind these two. Ward Burton just cleared Jeff Green, and there's Burton. He's coming on that bunch.
Well, he is. But I think it would show something to me if the 48 car and the 24 car are teammates. They run like teammates. What does that say about the 5 and the 25?
Who are members of the same team.
Same team who run like teammates. I believe if I was in that deal, I'd be wanting to get on the 24 and 48 team side of everything.
It's the other side of the stream, or the team. Matt.
Well, Mike, an update down here from the 30, but you heard Jeff Green's crew chief Todd Barrier say a few laps ago that their car was tight earlier in the race, and it is still tight even after that air pressure change. He's tight on entry, DW, and he's tight off.
12th place. Kenny Schrader slips and slides up in front of Kevin Harvick, and here comes Dale Jarrett, last year's winner.
That little bobble, and you got to get out of the throttle, and when you do, it just opens the door for someone like Dale Jarrett, who was in the right place at the right time.
And you know, as I look at Dale Jarrett, I talked to Todd Parrott and Jimmy Elliott this morning. They've been running a lot of their in-house chassis. They decided to bring a much older car here that's a Hopkins, a store-bought chassis, just to see if maybe they've been off base a little bit with their in-house chassis.
I can't tell you, Larry, how many times has that happened?
Many times.
You're doing your own deal and you say, we're just not getting it done. We got to go back to the basics. And a basic car is either a Hopkins or a Laughlin. That's something a driver can relate to.
Whoa! Kevin Harvick. I'm sorry, Darrell.
It's okay.
These fellas that come off that corner and take your breath. You could read the whole right side of Harvick's car as he came off the corner, and we were looking straight at the nose.
You know, here's Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, of course, won the race at Rockingham in this very car. He started back in 34th. He's up to 17th. I talked to Robbie Reiser, his crew chief, this morning. I said, how are you, man? He said, I don't understand it. He said, you know, we have tried our Rockingham setup. We've tried the setup that we ran well with here a year ago. It's not working. They were on the 4 springs, 4-shock sway bar change this morning. Changed almost every piece of that race car.
Well, that's when I go around and Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and I get all the information I get, and I come back to my crew chief Sunday morning, and I say, look, here's what so-and-so's doing, and here's what so-and-so's doing, and here's what they're doing, and I take all that information, and I say, here's what we're going to do.
You go to that motor coach lot.
That's right. We have a meeting.
Here's Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Green. They've gone past the 4 of Mike Skinner, who's gone a lap down, and Ward Burton has already passed this group. Ward is up to 4th place and moving toward the front. As you see on Fox Track, that's the interval from Jeff Gordon back to Ward in 4th.
Yeah, well, he's visibly closing that gap down.
Slowly but surely, I've been watching the lap times. For most laps, they've been running pretty close to each other. Jeff Gordon, the leader, and Ward Burton. But you see it just ever so slightly creeping down. He's closing in. A bunch in the middle of the corner. He really went through the middle of the corner right there. You saw that interval jump a bunch.
Yeah, inch by inch, step by step.
And Darrell, that's not entry speed here. That's picking up the throttle sooner than somebody else is.
And then here's Gordon, our leader, that's caught up in some heavy traffic.
And that will knock a bunch of time out of your lap time.
You can be held up as much as a second a lap. You can have a huge lead and just have to sit there and wait.
2 of the Petty cars just in front of Gordon.
See the 21 car, I mean, he comes from nowhere because Gordon can't go. And he knows, unlike, you know, what happened earlier, he's going to get underneath that car, but he's going to wait till that car goes all the way up against the outside wall.
All right, you're riding with Elliott Sadler, 2nd place car, underneath Casey Atwood.
Now,
Clear.
Here you see the telemetry on Elliott Sadler, the 2nd place car. See those RPMs? You can hear it. It goes with the throttle. You back off the throttle, the RPMs up here, they go down. Roll out of that throttle. Way down here, down at that end of the racetrack, turn 3 and 4, much tighter end of the racetrack. Driving that car with that throttle pedal.
Sadler clears John Andretti on the high side as Jeff Gordon tries to put a lap on Kyle Petty. That's the way they run here at Darlington.
The Carolina Dodge Dealers 400 on Fox is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Jeff Gordon leads by 1.8 seconds over Elliott Sadler. You watch Sterling Marlin there, just ahead of Jeremy Mayfield. Marlin moving up into the top 10 at 9th place. There is the lead gap. Gordon back to Elliott Sadler.
Okay, Larry, how much longer are you going to keep me out here? I'm getting a little nervous.
I'm here figuring right now. And Jeff Hammond, it's one of those deals, you know, we documented you can run about 65 laps on fuel. They were on pit road at lap 38, somewhere around lap 100 to 105. But Jeff, the whole deal,
31
got
car.
trouble off turn 4.
Robbie Gordon, a lot of smoke
tire
in that
smoke.
car.
Tire smoke. Now he's got a tire down.
Well, he hit the wall earlier, and they tried to keep him out there for a while before they pitted the car. But
caution is on the speedway.
You know what he's done? He's broken the rear track bar. His rear end is wobbling all over the place.
Yes, he has, and that's probably a product from going up and hitting the wall.
Smack that fence.
John Andretti smacked the wall twice, had to make an unscheduled green flag pit stop. Shauna Robinson has been into the wall twice, and that car has been retired. And now here, let's see Robbie Gordon's first collision with the concrete.
There's one of your bilge pumps.
Brake blower.
Brake blower.
Here's the first one, Darrell.
Back end hops out. Bam.
And there's no kidding. You hit the wall that hard, you've probably broke that track bar, man.
Well, he didn't break it that time. He just wounded it. This time, he's going to take it on out. Bam. She came out that time.
There's a lot of cars. They needed this pit stop right here. Everybody
there was guys that were so close to going a lap down. Good guys.
Jeff Burton in the 99 thought he had a tire going down. He wasn't far from going a lap down. Pit road is open.
That's the key a lot of times. The key a lot of times is if you can just stay on that lead lap till you get about 2/3 or halfway through the race.
Matt?
Mike, Tommy Baldwin Jr. and Tommy Wallace going to work on the right side. No adjustments for Ward Burton's double deuce. They felt their car was very good on that long run to Dick.
Burton's on his way down pit road for one of the pit stops in which he is, as always, going to take 4 tires. Greg Corione from Sanborn, New York, carrying front tires. Todd Gant's going to change the front tire. To Steve.
Well, Dick, Jimmy Spencer getting service, a half round down on that track bar, 4
Jimmy Spencer, and he's down pit road ahead of Woodburn.
A long pit road. Here comes Spencer. Will he beat Gordon out? No. It's going to be Jeff Gordon, Elliott Sadler, and Spencer. The first three off. Ward Burton will come out fourth.
Boy, Spencer had a whale of a pit stop there.
Did.
I mean, he moved up.
But you know what I like about his pit position, even though these are big pit boxes, he has an opening behind him. Nobody has to drive around.
Come right into his pit box.
His pits is back up here, and there's an opening just like there is right here, and that way you don't have nobody to block you coming in.
Yeah, it's where you go into the garage, and that opening is that's the opening at the end of pit road right there.
Let's ride with Robbie Gordon. We'll show you what it's like here when you dance with the lady in black.
You don't have full test on my train.
Got a problem. It's making all kinds of noise. Make fish the drive shaft out of the thing.
We're under the second caution of the day at Darlington.
Turning this opening right here, Robbie, on pit road. Go ahead and come on.
The Carolina Dodge Dealers 400 on Fox is brought to you by Walmart. Always low prices, always. By Pepsi Cola. Experience the joy of Pepsi. By Dr. Scholl's. Look, feel, do better. And by your neighborhood 7-Eleven store. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
On this round of pit stops, Jeremy Mayfield penalized 15 seconds for not having a catch can man in place when they started fueling. So he lost 14 spots on this exchange. Tony Stewart gained 5 spots with his pit stops. That fellow wants us to crank it up. All right, we're back under green.
That Jimmy Spencer in that 41, he is driving that race car right now. Kind of expected him to run good here. This is the same car he had at Rockingham. He was very competitive with till the ignition box went out.
Here he goes. This is what we saw from Spencer yesterday in the Busch race. On every restart, Jimmy would run hard for the first 5 or 10 laps, picking up spots, challenging for the lead.
And sometimes that's good, Darrell, but you get the goodie out of your tire. You use up too much tire in the beginning.
I know y'all always, oh man, he is driving. Look at it, sliding that thing off the corner. But you always say save your tires. Save your tires. You can't save tires.
No, not here.
There's no way to save tires.
You just don't save them, just don't abuse them.
Well, but now Spencer was abusing his off a 2 over there. He had the thing in a 4-wheel slide, crossed up.
Darrell, compare the lines here between Spencer and Gordon.
Well, there's a preferred line, and that's the one that Gordon is in. The only way that Jimmy's going to get by him is get the nose down under him, and usually think you'll push up off the 2 when you do that. Now you come down here. If you wanted to, you could try to drive underneath of him right here, but you got to be sure you got the grip to do it with.
And it's
now you bog the car down. Spencer's coming out of there. That lower line, you bog the car down. Gordon's going to beat you up out of the hole.
Just to give you an idea, these guys are running like 30-18, 30-20 before that pit stop on 40, 50 lap tires. They were running 32, 40s, and 50s.
And more on the leader, Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Gordon had another quick pit stop. He came in first, went out first. Very slight adjustment on the chassis. He's got a great race car today.
Now, Darrell, if you're Jeff Gordon, are you distracted by Spencer gnawing at your bumper there?
Quite honestly, I'm surprised that Jeff is racing Spencer as hard as he is. Spencer is a hard racer. We all know that. I think as long as he doesn't get up there and start bumping around on Jeff will probably try to get away from him. But he isn't going to put up with much of that Jimmy Spencer stuff coming up there and roughing him up.
All right, Robbie Gordon is in the garage. Here's Steve.
Thanks, Mike. There's about 14 different mechanics working on the 31 car of Robbie Gordon. Big problems that have to replace the drive shaft. What happened, Robbie?
I got the wall a couple laps earlier, and I don't know, just went into turn 3 and just stepped out on me really big. It's unfortunate, you know. I tried to talk myself into liking this place, and every time I come here, I dislike it. So, you know, it's a tough racetrack. I watched an interview with Dale Jr. and he said he hated the place also, but he said he's going to talk himself into liking it. I said, you know what, I'm going to go in there with that same attitude. You know what, I still don't like this place.
I will let him get back to work. Also, guys, just to note, Bobby Labonte, they went up 2 rounds on the track bar, 2 rounds of wedge out, and pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear.
Oh, Matt, go ahead.
For DW, an update down here in the 8th at Dale Earnhardt Jr. 2 great stops today at 13.81 and a 13.80. A few comments from Dale Jr. He said that the car was driving off turn 2 like a limo on an ice rink. Then somebody chimed in like he's done that a lot. But they did make a track bar adjustment, went down half a round to try to tighten up that number 8 machine. Then he said, how many laps are in this race? And somebody said 393. He's like, oh man, you're killing me. I've got to go 300 more laps. They go, no, 293. He goes, oh, thank goodness.
Maybe it handled like that Zamboni he drove in that Olympics promo.
You know, for 2 or 3 days, you're in denial here. Everybody, you go around saying, no, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. And then you get in the race.
See how tight they run, and this track looks too narrow to pass on. Sometimes it is.
Well, that's why they get down on the apron. I mean, we run on the apron here a lot, trying to pass people. Going into 3, going into 1, you'll always have the left side wheels down on the apron.
After a particularly frustrating day here, Kyle Petty once said they should fill this place with water and stock it with fish.
Everybody has a favorite thing they like to say about Darlington. Some we can repeat and some we can't.
You saw Ricky Rudd make the pass, the most experienced driver here. This is his 51st start at Darlington in the Winston Cup car. And later this season, he will hopes to break Terry Labonte's record for consecutive Winston Cup race starts. Now here comes Harvick right back after him.
2 distinct different lines right there. Ricky Rudd on the high side, Kevin Harvick in the 29 on the bottom.
And what happened? What can happen to you? You go in, you're leading the guy. You run the good line, all of a sudden your car pushes up. You got to get out of the throttle. That guy gets a run on you and passes you. And you know you're faster than he is, so you go right back and pass him back.
Whoa, Johnny Benson just had a toss and catch it there coming off the corner. Here's Jimmy Johnson, 7th place.
Now, a guy that you won't hear us say a word about hardly all day is that guy in that red car. But at the end of the day, he will be up in the top 5 or 6.
$1 million bill. Bill Elliott won the first Winston Million here in 1985.
He has an understanding of this racetrack, and he knows how far to push it and knows when to hold it.
Unless he gets caught up in a wreck, his car will probably not have a scratch on it at the end of the day.
He does not want a Darlington stripe.
Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Spencer are separated by just 1/4 of a second, with Elliott Sadler's Ford in 3rd and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Chevrolet in 4th.